Instagram recipes fucking suck. But I'll be honest, not only am I sick and tired of seeing them, I'm also sick and tired of judging them. Now, I'm not the best cook in the world, but in the spirit of pissing myself off and entertaining you, I'm gonna be testing 4 recipes that for absolutely no reason piss the shit out of me. The first recipe is apparently a French toast cloud that will blow your balls off and suck it. According to the guy who made it, it's the best thing that you will ever taste in your life. And I'll be real, the only reason I chose this recipe is because the comments absolutely fucking trashed it. And I'm a skeptic, so I think it's only fair we give this man an actual trial. Now, apparently for this recipe, all you need is 3 ingredients, and that is 2 cups of low-fat vanilla-flavored Greek yogurt. I went with salted caramel instead. You're also gonna need 5 eggs and 5 tablespoons of cornstarch. Already, if you're someone who has ever cooked anything in their lives, your amygdala should be going haywire. The first step is dumping all of those ingredients in a bowl. Afterwards, you will have to mix them together, even if it's against your will. After mixing them together, you're gonna pour that mixture in a baking form, even if it's against your will. And lastly, you wanna put it in the oven and bake it for about an hour at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, even if it's against your will. Wave goodbye to the mixture and your self-respect, and after about an hour, it should look something like this, which honestly isn't that bad at all. Even though it looked good, my body repulsed at the idea of trying it. I know what's in it, and I know that mixture of ingredients cannot ever form anything that even tastes remotely good. So naturally, I tried it, and I really wanted it to not be that bad. I was hoping I'd be able to vindicate this guy because to a certain degree, I get it. I'm a gym rat as well, and once you take that stuff seriously, eating just stops becoming a necessity and starts becoming something that you just do to hit a goal. You no longer eat for fun, so recipes like this can just really come in clutch at times. But unfortunately, this next recipe I chose because I had a personal agenda as well. It's a vegetarian doner or döner kebab made with smoked tofu, and according to the guy in the video, it tastes exactly like the real stuff, which is a preposterous claim if you ask me. The ingredients you're gonna need for this recipe are smoked tofu, some garlic, the onion that's been in my fridge for more than a week, some soy sauce, some paprika, and some Italian herbs. If you don't have those ingredients, it's okay, just don't make the recipe. Next up, you're gonna need a cutting board and a knife because we have to make some preparations. Once you have your tofu chopped, your onion diced, your garlic grated, and your expectations low, you wanna dump all of the ingredients together in a big bowl, or a medium-sized bowl if you like making things harder for yourself. And you're going to want to add a tablespoon of soy sauce, a few taps, apparently, of Italian herbs, and a shake or 2 of paprika. Mix it all together, and you know that it's the best of both worlds, Hannah Montana. For this recipe, I brought out James, my cast iron pan. I made sure it's been preheated, gave it a few tablespoons of olive oil, and then dumped all of my tofu in the pan. Naturally, I was immediately hit with the realization that I've never cooked tofu before, and I have absolutely no fucking clue what to look out for in terms of doneness. Can't this thing be ate raw too? I submitted to the idea of thugging it out and decided to just let it cook for around 10 minutes. Once they were done, I plated the tofu, and I know in the main recipe he turned it into a whole-ass doner sandwich, but truth be told, I'm a silly forgetful goose. So in the spirit of truly finding out whether or not it's a good meat alternative, I'll be raw dogging it instead. Without any hesitation, I take a bite. Immediately, I'm hit with exactly what I expect, albeit not as moist or juicy as actual doner meat. And to be honest, the texture does leave a bit to be desired. However, it doesn't really taste as compromised as I thought it would be. I mean, I reckon if you were to make this properly with the bread, the sauces, and the veggies, you could probably trick any unsuspecting victim easily. This is a solid alternative if you're vegan or vegetarian. I'd easily give it a 6.5 to 7 out of 10. Don't show it to Turkish people though. They might get angry. This next recipe, I can't really remember why I wanted to try, but I found it saved in one of my Instagram, I guess you could say, folders, and I'm a big brownie slut, and apparently that's good enough for me. It's supposed to be like a brownie with 5 ingredients and no flour. I don't know what the purpose of all of that was. If I wanted to think off the top of my head, I'm assuming the no flour has something to do with people who have a gluten allergy, but I'm not even sure if that's where gluten comes from. Anyways, for this recipe, you're gonna need some peanut butter, some cocoa powder, like 5 eggs, some chocolate chips, maple syrup, and some baking powder. The preparation is kind of easy at the start. There's really no need to separate the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients. You just dump everything into a bowl, which gives you a false sense of conveniency at the start. But once you actually get to the mixing part, oh my fucking god. I started off by mixing it with a whisk, and at first it was doing the job pretty well, but after a while my wrists got a little bit tired. I guess it was the Saturday night wrists. Not only that, but after a while it just really wasn't mixing that well anymore. Even my hand mixer was clearly struggling for its life, and part of me was kind of worried that it would explode at any second. Anyways, it took me a few minutes, but I eventually had it spread out on the dish, and this is what it looked like before I put it in the oven, and this is what it looked like after I put it in the oven. At the start, I'm not gonna lie, it was surprisingly moist. Definitely tasted a bit compromised though. I know what this is supposed to be. I've had it in my mouth multiple times. It just doesn't taste like it usually does. And maybe that's fine. But honestly, in comparison to actual brownies, this is definitely a bit drier and it doesn't really have that punch to it. If you don't really have a gluten allergy, and I've already invested enough in this whole gluten allergy being the purpose of this recipe, there's no need for this whatsoever. This final recipe I chose because it seemed like something that is incredibly easy to make. It's supposed to be some sort of chicken breast filled with pesto, mozzarella, some salami or dry meat, and it was enough for me to be convinced, so I decided to make it. The ingredients you're gonna need are, of course, a chicken breast, red pesto, which I didn't really understand at the start. I thought he just meant the color red. You're also going to need some sort of dry meat. I had some salami left over in the fridge, so I decided to use that instead. For the spices, he used Cajun seasoning. I wasn't really able to find it in the supermarket, so I just made my own mixture. And last but not least, you're also going to need some mozzarella cheese. This recipe doesn't really require that much preparation. All you have to do is pretty much just slice the chicken breast in half and dump all of the ingredients in there. However, this time around, I decided to shoot myself in the foot by not really looking at the chicken breasts that I've got. Mine were unfortunately small. Small meant when I tried to cut it in half, I eventually just spread it completely fucking open and there was a huge hole in the middle. That didn't stop me though. I decided to just compromise on some of the ingredients and I didn't use as much as him. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of hesitant with this recipe at the start because every time I've made chicken breast in the oven, it just came out incredibly dry and rubbery, and I felt like I was biting into a Michelin tire every time. Of course, lo and behold, it was fucking rubbery and dry. The cheese, however, in the pesto did kind of save it on that end a bit. I guess you could say it had a bit of moisture in it, and I guess it's something that I would actually happily make if I need to make something quick on a whim and I don't have that much time. The first bite with all the fillings is moist, but it ended up being dry very quick. There's definitely techniques out there to maybe make the chicken a bit juicier, or maybe I just don't like chicken in an oven. Who knows? I'd give this a 4 out of 10, maybe a 5. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, have a good night, and take care.